Starting. The Mangala Charana. Om Jnanatimirandasya Nanjana Shalakaya Chakshurumilitanyena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manovishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunatham Vitam Sajivam Sadve Savadutam Regina Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakam Vitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gourangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanusute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktavinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai. Welcome to today's Bhagavad Gita class. So it's Tuesday, that means we're starting a new verse. What was the last verse we did? 15:15, right? I'm seated in everyone's heart. So then next one is going to be 1854. Well, let's just go to 1855. Maybe 1855. We have to go there too. Okay, here it is. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yashchashmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tad anantaram. Let's do it again. Bhaktyamam abhijanati yavan yashchashmi tatvataha tato mam tatvato gyatva vishate tad anantaram. Here's a song. One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Ready? Do you want to try it? One can understand me as I am, as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, only by devotional service. And when one is in full consciousness of me, by such devotion, he can enter into the kingdom of God. Haribol. Very beautiful. Okay, so where we left off was, where we left off. We did action in the modes, right? Did we?
Yeah, we did these five actions.
We did 22, 23, 24. I think we left off on 26 probably. No, we read 26. There's the worker. Did we do the workers? We did, because we did procrastinating, lazy. Okay. We did Pravitim Chop. We did a lot. Did we do determination?
No.
Okay, we stopped at 33. Okay, so let's start at 1833. Dhrityaya dharayate mana pranendriya kriyaha yoganavya vicharinya dhritti sa partha sattviki. All right, you want to read Daniel? 1833.
Determination, breakable, which is sustained, steadfastness by yoga practice, and which thus controls the activities of the mind. Life and senses is determination in what goodness. Purport: Yoga is a means to understand the Supreme Soul, one who is steadily fixed in the Supreme Soul, determination, concentrating one's mind, life, and sensory activities on the Supreme. Engages in Krishna consciousness. That sort of determination is in the mode of goodness. The word avyabhicharinya is very significant, for it indicates that persons who are engaged in Krishna consciousness are never deviated by any other activity.
All right, yeah, so determination in the mode of goodness is unbreakable, unbreakable determination. So it's not that the person is kind of, what do you call it? Like weak-willed, like you want to do something like, oh, let's see what happens. And you don't really know what to do, what not to do, or what you're doing is the right thing. Or so, yeah, our determination becomes strong when we have clarity. So that's one of the things that in the mode of goodness, there's illumination. So there's clarity. We know, right? We know what's to be done, what's not to be done, what is to be feared, what's not to be feared. We know what is religion, what is irreligion. It's all very clear. We know what the goal is, what the process is, how to do it. So when you're very clear on situation, then it's easy. That was mine. Then it's easy to be determined, right? Because there's no question of doing another thing, because you know that this is the right thing to do, and this is what I'm going to do. So then, and then another thing which makes that determination is unbreakable is that he says it's sustained with steadfastness by yoga practice. So yoga practice means that there's some discipline, right? Self-discipline. So that's basically what yoga is controlling the senses. Are you okay? That's a little distracting. Thank you. Yoga means discipline. It means controlling the mind, controlling the senses. So if we have mastered that art, the art and science of controlling the mind and controlling the senses, then it's easy to be determined, right? Because your mind is not going off on another idea, right? Like you have a plan and you just control your mind and do it, and you just control your senses and do it. And so that's the benefit of yoga, is that it helps us to be able to achieve what we set out to achieve, because it teaches us like techniques of self-control and self-discipline. So yeah, steadfast with yoga, and which thus controls the activities of the mind, life, and senses. So then when we have a clear goal, when we have the discipline to be able to carry out that goal, then everything in our life just aligns with the goal. Mind is thinking, okay, what's favorable for achieving my goal? What's unfavorable? I accept what's favorable, reject what's unfavorable. Life, yeah, our life energy is channeled towards that. Our senses are engaged in positive ways, proactive ways to achieve the goal. And then determination is complete and effective. So that's nice, right? In the mode of goodness, everything is very clear, very self-controlled, disciplined, regulated, focused, aligned, harmonious. Those are all qualities of the mode of goodness. Okay, so the person in the mode of goodness can get things done because they have all these benefits. All right, text 34. Yaya tu dharma kamartan Dritya dara yaterjuna Prasangena palakankshi Driti sapartarajasi. Pragati?
But that determination by which one holds fast to further results in religion, economic development, and sense gratification is of the nature of passion or Arjuna. Purport. Any person who is always desirous of fruitive results in religious or economic activities, whose only desire is sense gratification, and whose mind, life, and senses are thus engaged, is in the mode of passion.
Okay, yeah. So in the mode of passion, because mode of passion is like you always want mode of passion person is thinking, what can I get for my sense gratification? Like what's in it for me? Everything is materially motivated. So they're attached to fruitive results, whatever they're doing, whether they're doing religion, they go to church or go to temple or mosque or whatever, but they're thinking, what am I getting out of this? And they go for some material purpose. And then economic development, they want to earn money. Why? So that they can enjoy sense gratification. It's all like based on that. So then they're very determined to get things that they think are going to facilitate their sense gratification. That's basically where their determination goes. But because they don't have clarity, they don't always, sometimes they're very clear about what they want and how they're going to get it. But because, well, there's five senses, and the senses are always shooting off in different directions. And then they might think that, oh, this is going to be good for my sense gratification. And then they get some new information, right? Somebody's like, they're thinking, I'm going to go to this new restaurant. And then somebody comes along and says, oh, we went there the other day and it wasn't so good. Like it was kind of like dry and whatever, too spicy or whatever. You're not gonna, I don't think you're gonna like it there. So then like, oh, new information. That's not good for sense gratification. All right, well, what's a good restaurant that you recommend then? Okay, let's go there then. And all of a sudden your determination is like zoop, over here and it's like, okay, we're gonna look at the reviews for that. We're gonna do the GPS, see how far away it is. We check the opening hours and like that. So yeah, the determination in the mode of passion is strong, but it's unsteady. It's unstable. It's easily changeable because material things are always changing. Yeah. And then as soon as the person thinks that there's no material benefit from the activity, then they don't do it. So for materialistic people, something like, chanting japa or, offering arti or so, like doing any kind of worship of the Lord, it's hard for them to maintain steady determination to do those activities because they may not feel like they're getting immediate benefit from it. Right? Like if somebody's mind is very disturbed and then they start doing japa, they might feel like a sense of peace and calm. Okay, this is good. But then after a while, they're like, okay, I think I'm good. I don't need that anymore. They won't do it anymore. Right? Because they don't value the actual spiritual benefit that comes from the activities. They're just looking for immediate, tangible, not necessarily immediate, but tangible material benefits. Like they'll hold out if they feel like there may be a long-term bigger benefit somewhere in the future, right? But if there's no material benefit, if it's strictly spiritual benefit, and if it seems to compromise some material benefit that they might get otherwise, right? Then they won't do it. For example, let's say, oh, there's an opportunity to like some nice business opportunity or a job opportunity that happens early in the morning, then they'll sacrifice their whole morning program, spiritual morning program and their japa and things to go and do that, right? Because that's the priority is material gain. So basically whatever facilitates their material happiness, their material sense gratification, that they'll become determined for. Otherwise, no. Okay, now we have determination in the mode of ignorance. Yeah.
I just had like few years back when
Uh-huh.
I was not chanting this, I was restless. Like I have discussed this with you. I do not have patience, for a long process and the results. I was so restless that now I want results now. I would work so hard to get the results, quick results. But I think after chanting and this discipline and routine, it gave me the feeling of how to be patient and to wait and believe in the process more. Like before, I used to be so restless about results.
Yeah,
So that was more top option. Now,
yeah,
So I feel like that we might give up on a lot of things on this process, but once we like choose Krishna, or I don't know if Krishna chooses us, he never give up on us.
yeah. Krishna's very kind. Yeah, that's definitely one thing that I've learned from bhakti is like a lot of patience because it takes a while for the, results to actually like that you can actually directly perceive that you've made spiritual advancement, that your consciousness is different, that perspective on things has changed, material desires are going away. It takes some time. So you just have to be patient. And also, yeah, in the beginning, I remember wanting everything to happen very fast. It's like because in material life, things are fast, right? Like you enroll in school, you enroll in a course, you take your course, exam comes, you pass the exam, move on to the next part of the curriculum, you pass that, you finish, you get your degree, it's like you get a job, you do work, you get paid, you get a promotion. It's like all happening very fast and in a way that you can, like a reliable timeline almost, right? You can
fixed.
fix timeline. Whereas you come to spiritual life and it's like you don't see what's happening, you don't know when it's gonna happen, you don't know how it's gonna happen. You're not sure if it's even gonna happen, right? It requires a lot of faith in the beginning. But then as we stick to it, then we see that actually like big changes are happening, like some really earth-moving changes are happening in our heart, right? So, and then you understand also, and then the things that you did have determination for, all those material things that we used to have a lot of strong determination to achieve, like strong ambition, a strong drive to achieve those things. It's like, if Krishna so desires, right? If Krishna so desires, that thing will happen. If not, Haribol, we'll figure it out. Or Krishna will figure it out. So, yeah. Okay, determination in the mode of ignorance is interesting. So let's see, text 35. Yaya swapnam bayam shokam vishadam madam evacha navimunchati durmedha driti sa partatamasi. Aruna.
And that determination beyond dreaming, faithfulness, meditation, moral strength, and image. Such an unintelligent determination, O son of Partha, is in the mode of darkness. It should not be concluded that a person in the mood of goodness does not dream. Here, dream means too much sleep. Dreaming is always present. Either in the mood of goodness, passion, or ignorance, dreaming is a natural occurrence. But those who cannot avoid oversleeping, who cannot avoid the pride of enjoying material objects, who are always dreaming of lording it over the material world, and whose life, mind, and senses are thus engaged, are considered to have determination in the mood of ignorance.
Hmm. Yeah, so this, you may have experienced this or seen it happen, that they say they're going to do something and they seem very determined to do it, but then next morning they can't wake up, right? They're just lying in bed and they wake up and they're just like, I guess I missed the bus, or whatever. I missed the opportunity to do that thing that I wanted to do. So that's determination, the mode of ignorance. It doesn't go beyond sleeping and dreaming or fearfulness. So you want to do something and you'd really like to do it, but then you're too afraid to try, right? You have all these hesitations and fears and anxieties, and then just thinking about it, you want to do it, but then the more you think about it, the more you just get like an anxiety attack. You start thinking of all the things that could go wrong, all the ways that you could fail, all the ways that people could criticize you for even trying, and then you just become, you just desist, you just give up on the endeavor and you don't do it. Or lamentation, right? You want to do something. Oh, but this person said discouraged me, and oh, it's raining outside today. Oh, I stubbed my toe this morning on the way to the bathroom. I don't know, everything seems to be working against me. The whole world's against me. Everything's just cursed. I think I shouldn't try. Right. Or determination and illusion is like you're determined to do something that's just really dumb, like you're determined to just, I don't know, just go get wasted, or I don't know, just something that's harmful to yourself. So, yeah. determination in the mode of ignorance basically doesn't go anywhere. It gets stopped before it even starts. So we want to not be in the mode of ignorance, because people in the mode of ignorance don't get anything done. They just, they have like their dreams, but they stay in the dream world, right? Their determinations are basically daydreams. They just daydream about, oh, I'm gonna do this and I'm gonna do that, and then, they just don't do anything. So you can see there's like a very clear distinction, right? Between their determination and the different modes. You really get a sense of like how the modes work when we break it down this way and compare different things like this. It's very helpful, I think. So we want to be in the mode of goodness. Then we can actually like know what is to be done and know how to get it done and actually do it. Right. Have the determination to achieve what we set out to achieve. And so that requires discipline, control of the mind, control of the senses, and the mercy of the Lord. Okay, now we're going to move on to happiness in the modes of nature. This is also nice. Text 36. Sukham tvidanim Sukham tvidanim trividham Shrinu me bharatarshava Abhyasad ramate yatra Dukantam cha nigachati. Arjuna, would you like to read? Arjuna ji. He's taking care of Keiko. How about Alia? Would you like to read?
Yes.
Alia's always there.
Okay. O best of the Bharatas, now please hear from me about the three kinds of happiness by which the conditioned soul enjoys, and by which he sometimes comes to the end of all distress. Report. A conditioned soul tries to enjoy material happiness again and again. Thus he feels they through it. But sometimes, in the course of such enjoyment, he becomes relieved from the material entanglement by association with a great soul. In other words, a conditioned soul is always engaged in some type of sense gratification, but when he understands by good association that it is only a repetition of the same thing, and he is awakened to his real Krishna consciousness, he is sometimes relieved from such repetitive, such called happiness.
Okay, thank you. Yeah, so Krishna here is making a general point. Well, first he's introducing the next topic, the next category of things that we're going to analyze in the modes. And then he's also making a general point about, just happiness in general, that material happiness is like chewing the chewed. It's like somebody's chewed some chewing gum and they chewed all the juice and all the sweetness and all the flavor out of it. And it's just like a tasteless, stale lump. And then they take it out of their mouth and stick it under the desk like kids used to do at school. And then some kid comes along and he's like, oh, chewing gum. And he pops it in his mouth and starts chewing it. So that's basically what people are doing, material happiness. It's like everybody's already been there, done that, squeezed all the juice out of it, and the next generation comes and tries the same things, right? Chewing the chewed. But Krishna says that sometimes if the person is lucky, in other words, if the person is in the mode of goodness, then they can understand that. They can understand that these material things that everybody has tried generation after generation and nobody has become happy by doing, why will I waste my time trying to do the same thing? Right? According to Albert Einstein, that's the definition of insanity. That you do the same thing again and again and again, thinking that you're going to get a different result. Right? So you see everybody, my great-grandparents did it, my grandparents did it, my parents did it, my older brother did it, and none of them are happy. They're all just stressed. They all died frustrated. Am I going to just follow the same path to disappointment and frustration? No. So that requires a little bit of mode of goodness to understand that. So now Krishna is going to go into, if happiness for the person, the mode of goodness is not chewing the chewed, then what is it? Okay, text 37. Yat tat agre visham eva parinamir mritopamam tat sukam satvikam proktam atma buddhi prasadajam. Divya, would you like to read?
Sure. That which is the beginning may be just like poison, but at the end it is just like nectar, and which awakens one to self-realization is said to be happiness in the mode of goodness. In the pursuit of self-realization, one has to follow many rules and regulations to control the mind and the senses, and to concentrate the mind on the self. All these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison, but if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental position, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life.
Jai. So this is a way to enjoy life. Mode of goodness. Yeah. So it's interesting that the mode of goodness, when you're beginning some mode of goodness activity, it doesn't look like it's going to be fun. It doesn't look like something that's like, hey, we're going to have a great time now. It looks like it's going to be austere, right? It's going to be difficult and not very enjoyable. So, yeah, bitter like poison, Prabhupada says, like waking up early in the morning, right? Like taking a cold shower or taking a shower immediately upon waking up, especially in the winter time, and like sitting down and chanting japa or whatever, like a lot of the things that we do. I remember when I used to do book distribution, it was always like poison in the beginning. I'd go out there on the street with my trolley full of books, and I would just be like, oh my God, this is the last thing they want to do is just walk up to complete strangers on this annoying street and try to get them to take something that they are not at all interested in. And I have to face everybody telling me no, 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 thank you, and no for the next 6 hours. So yeah, it was always like a big mental hurdle that I had to overcome to get started. But as soon as I got started, as soon as somebody, took a book and appreciated it and, was grateful, then it's like, so blissful. And then by the end of the day, when like all my books had gone, empty trolley, going back to the temple with no books in the trolley, bag full of money, bag full of donations, and I'd be like floating on air, like, woohoo, I'm so ecstatic. What a great day. Krishna's so kind. Life is so good. So happy to be a devotee. Thank you, Krishna, for giving me this ecstatic service. So, yeah, but then next day it would be the same thing again. Oh no, the people out there, they're so ignorant. I don't want to talk to them. Yeah. Anyways. So that's it. Poison in the beginning, but nectar in the end. So a lot of things in Krishna consciousness are like that you go into it thinking this is going to be miserable. I don't want to do this. But then by the end, you're like, woohoo, that was so great. That was really ecstatic. And I'm feeling not just happy, but I feel like I really achieved something. I made some progress. I controlled my mind. I overcame some fears or doubts that I had. I grew. I made some spiritual, mental, emotional growth, by this surrender. So that's what spiritual life is all about. It's about growth. And with growth, there's some growing pains in the beginning, but it's a lot better than not growing, right? It's a lot better than just stagnating and staying in a rut, stuck in a rut in our. Any thoughts about that? Happiness in the mode of goodness?
Like waking up early.
Waking up early. Oh, Alia.
Yes, I have a question to understand better when he said in the purport the transcendental position is like um above the three material modes, right? So it's
Yeah,
basically when you are in that position, it's talking about love to Krishna, basically. That understand that when you are in that mindset and when you feel that grace and gratitude and that connection with Krishna, well, I would just to understand that.
yeah. So he says all these procedures are very difficult, bitter like poison, but if one is successful in following the regulations and comes to the transcendental platform, he begins to drink real nectar and he enjoys life. Yeah, so the other thing is that we were saying that when we act in the mode of goodness, sometimes the results aren't immediate. It may take a long time, right? It may take like many years of, slogging away and Vaidhi sadhana bhakti and disciplining and forcing yourself to do things that you have to do and following the instructions of the spiritual master, even though you don't want to, but you're doing it because he said so and you took a vow to, follow his instructions. So, yeah. But if we continue just doing those things and trying to be devout, then gradually we get purified of any of the lower modes, passion and ignorance, and we even rise above goodness. So Prabhupada often says that the mode of goodness is the springboard to the transcendental platform. So from the mode of goodness, when we take the mode of goodness and we act in the mode of goodness for Krishna, and then we jump up, like on springboard, bounce, 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 woo, up to the transcendental platform. And then that's where the transcendental platform is the spiritual platform. So that's really the platform of like unlimited happiness, right? Happiness that doesn't end. That's the stay high forever platform. So, and that's where Prabhupada says, then we get to drink real nectar, the spiritual nectar, the nectar for which the soul is always anxious, because the soul is not happy drinking any material beverage, right? The soul wants to drink this transcendental nectar. That's what we thrive on. So in the three modes, mode of ignorance has its beverage, right? Which is some fermented, intoxicating thing that just poisons your body and makes you delusional and sick. All right, so that's the beverage of the mode of ignorance. Beverage in the mode of passion is something that just like zoops you up and gives you energy and makes you hustle and get things. Beverage in the mode of goodness is healthy, it sustains your life, it's nutritious, it gives you, a nice, what do you call it? Like not the kind of energy that just like gives you a big rush, but like, like metered out, slow release, long-term, energy to be able to do things nicely. But the beverage, I'm talking about beverages, but the beverage of the transcendental nectar for which but all those things, they just keep us going in our material life. They don't actually nourish the soul at all because the soul is not nourished by any material thing, not touched at all by any material thing. So the soul is only nourished by transcendental nectar, the juice, basically that beverage is rasa, the 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 juice that comes from loving Krishna. Yeah, like you said, Alia. So that's the real nectar. And that's the real life. Yeah, real life is spiritual life because we're spiritual beings. So for us, for a spiritual being, real life means spiritual life. And spiritual life means serving Krishna. And so that's when we can really enjoy. So when we act in the mode of goodness, we're very determined with our initiation vows and our services and our sadhana and everything. Then we gradually get purified of all of our material attachments, and then we get lifted up to the transcendental platform, and then we experience this ultimate happiness, right? The real nectar. Okay, is that clear?
Yes, thank you.
All right, great. So let's go to happiness in the mode of passion. Vishayandriya samyogad yattat agre mritopamam pariname visham eva tatsukam rajasam smritam. Daniel? And text 38.
That happiness which is derived from contact of the senses with their objects, and which appears like nectar at first, but poison at the end, is said to be of the nature of passion. Therefore, a young man and a young woman meet, and the senses drive the young man to see her, to touch her, and to have sexual intercourse. In the beginning, this may be very pleasing to the senses, but at the end, or after some time, it becomes just like poison. There is separated, or there is divorce, there is lamentation, there is sorrow, etc. Such happiness is always in the mode of passion. Happiness derived from a combination of the senses and the sense objects is always a cause of distress, and should be avoided.
So this is the opposite of happiness in the mode of goodness, right? Goodness, it's poison in the beginning, but nectar in the end. Whereas mode of passion is nectar in the beginning, but poison at the end. So Prabhupada says that we judge a thing by its result. If it results in misery, then it's a miserable thing. If it results in happiness, then it's a good thing. So yeah, and the classic example is, like someone falls in love or falls in lust, right? And then you get all infatuated. Oh my God, I'm in love. I'm floating. Everything is good. Seeing the world through rose-colored glasses. Everything is pink and shiny and beautiful, and right? But then what happens after some time? You realize the person wasn't exactly what you imagined them to be. You get your heart ripped out, torn into little pieces and thrown out the window, thrown into the gutter. Yeah, people people commit suicide over like breakups and things like this. And then yeah, I know my parents got divorced and it was really bad. My mother had she was having nervous breakdown. She started smoking. She lost so much weight. And yeah, everything went wrong. She was having headaches and spinal problems and just like so many, just because of the emotions, like just so many. She ended up losing, I mean, there were three of us, my older brother, my younger brother, and me. And anyway, so my older brother ended up going with my father, so she lost custody of him. And then my younger brother was only 5 years old, poor little guy. And for a while they were doing he was like a week with my father, a week with my mother while we were in the same town. But then my mother moved to another town, me and my mother moved to another town, and then it was not practical, right? Because he had to go to school. So then there was a whole battle, this whole long dragged out custody battle, and it was really terrible and horrendous. And my mother was like really going through it. Anyway, she lost in the end. She lost my little brother, and then she was stuck with only me and no money because she never worked because my father was, the sole provider. And anyways, it was a big, huge mess. So yeah, often these things end up like that. So
So don't get married.
be very careful. Yeah. The thing is, see, that's why we have to be in the mode of goodness. Because in the mode of goodness, it's like there's clarity, right? In the mode of goodness, you don't get blinded so much. I mean, still, it's difficult to not be blinded by lust and infatuation, but you don't get blinded. So there's still at least a glimmer of clarity that, you're going to do your research, right? You're going to actually look into the person's character and ask around about the person, do some astrological compatibility tests, and wait some time to get to know the person sufficiently, see how they are over a period of time. And then that's like poison, right? Because you just want to dive right into it, right? You don't want to wait for 2 years or something. You just want to I know I love this person and they love me and we're gonna get married and we're gonna live happily ever after. Woohoo! Right? After 3 weeks. So dangerous stuff. Arjuna, did you want to say something? Up.
I was gonna say, sounds like a couple I know.
Nectar in the beginning. Now they're riding on the waves of nectar in the beginning. Let's see what happens in the end. Hopefully it won't be too bad. Anyways, yeah. I mean, even if a couple stays together, there's going to be arguments, there's going to be lamentation, there's going to be fights, there's going to be, episodes where, you'd rather not see each other's face for some time, even if you don't get divorced. So that's just the nature of material relationships and anything that's based on sense gratification. Right. And the same thing with anything, right? Like you see a nice big chocolate cake and you're like, yes, senses get all enlivened. It's like, and then you get it on your plate and you're so happy and you're just about to dig in, you're looking at it, you're smelling it. All the senses are getting enlivened, right? And you put that first bite in your mouth and you're like, oh my God, this tastes so good. It's like melting in your tongue, all the chocolate icing and the cream and everything. You're enjoying like anything. And you're like, oh, give me another piece of that. You eat 3, 4 pieces, and then afterwards, what happens? Oh my God, I think I made a big mistake. I shouldn't have eaten that cake. I'm feeling really terrible, right? Like that. So anything that's based on sense enjoyment ends up like that. Even you go to like watch some, non-devotional movie. It's like, you watch the trailer, you saw the advertising, your friends are raving about it, you have to go and see it. Oh my God, I'm so excited. We're gonna go and see this movie. Finally, I'm dying to see this. And then you get into the theater and the lights go out and the thing comes on and it's like, yes, here we go, here we go, here we go. And then during the movie, it's like, okay, there's some scenes where you're like, wow, this is amazing. You're all excited on the edge of your seat. So many things happen. And then what happens after the movie? You're trying to like chant your rounds, and all these scenes from the movie are like disturbing your mind like anything. You can't get them out of your head. They're like so disturbing. And and then you feel so like contaminated by all these like non-devotional ideas and thoughts and images and things like that. So yeah, you get filled with regret for what you did. You thought you were going to enjoy, but it ended up just like disturbing you so much afterwards. So that's like, yeah, the nature of happiness, or so-called happiness, but presents itself as happiness in the mode of passion is, yeah, you're going to be happy, happy, happy if you do this, but then you're not. So Prabhupada says happiness derived from a combination of senses and sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided by all means. That reminds me of the verse that Krishna said back in chapter 5, 522. That was one of the verses that we learned. Yehi samsparsha jaboga dukkha yonaya evate adyantavanta konteya nateshu ramate buddha. He says an intelligent person does not take part in the sources of misery, which are due to contact, with the material senses. O son of Kunti, such pleasures have a beginning and an end, and so the wise man does not delight in them. So Krishna is literally straight up saying that contact of the senses with the objects of the senses, basically sense gratification, is a source of misery. Is not a source of happiness. It's a source of misery. And that's exactly what Prabhupada is saying, that combination of senses and sense objects is always a cause of distress and should be avoided. So yeah, I was kind of touching on that in class this morning, that this body is not a vehicle for sense gratification, right? It's a total misconception we have about our existence. It's a very fundamental and very widely pervasive, common conception that we have, that this body is mine to enjoy. I have this body for my enjoyment. I have these eyes to see beautiful things. I have these ears to hear music that I enjoy. I have this, nose and mouth and tongue and belly and genitals and everything. And they're all here for my enjoyment. But that's not what this body is. The body is an instrument for service to the Lord, right? It's a seva sadhaka rupa. This form that we have is meant for two things: seva, service to the Lord, and sadhana, and devotional practices like hearing, chanting, reading. It's meant for discipline. It's meant for disciplined spiritual practice. And when we use our bodies for the right purpose, then we're going to be happy. And if we use them for the wrong purpose, we're going to be unhappy. And that's just what it is, for better or for worse, whether we like it or not. That's what it is. So don't believe the hype. When people tell you that if you they say that if it feels good, do it. But that's the mode of passion. Feels good, do it. But after doing it, it doesn't feel good. Right? You don't feel good. You feel bad. So we have to act with intelligence. Okay. All right. Yeah, and this is also related to food because we learned about food in the modes. So the food in the mode of goodness are healthy and wholesome, and they give you long life, and they're juicy and like that. So when we eat healthy, wholesome foods in the mode of goodness, then it may be like poison in the beginning because most people would rather eat, junk food, which is more exciting to the tongue than, steamed broccoli or something. But afterwards we feel good. So if you eat food in the modes of goodness, it's like poison in the beginning and nectar in the end. It may not taste it may not be the best thing you ever tasted, but afterwards you feel fantastic, and you live a long, healthy life and you can do so many things that you want to do. Whereas junk food and, all kinds of unhealthy food, it like tastes good, right? That's why it's so popular because it tastes good. It's exciting to eat. It tantalizes the tongue. And so you take that first, like Lay's potato chips, you can't eat just one. So you like taste that and it's like, oh, it's crispy, it's salty, it's crunchy, it's good. Cheese balls, you end up eating the whole bag, and then afterwards you immediately feel sick. You get like long-term health problems. It shortens your life, and still you go and eat because of what of passion, even though it's nectar in the beginning, poison in the end. Yeah. So, okay, let's hear about happiness in the mode of ignorance. Yad agre chanu bande cha sukam mohanam atmanaha nidralasya pramadotam tattamasam udaritam. Pragati?
And that happiness which is longing to self-realization, which is delusion from beginning to end, and which arises from sleep, laziness, and illusion, is said to be of the nature of ignorance. Purport. One who takes pleasure in laziness and in sleep is certainly in the mood of darkness, ignorance, and one who has no idea how to act and how not to act is also in the mood of ignorance. For the person in the mood of ignorance, everything is illusion. There is no happiness either in the beginning nor at the end. For the person in the mode of passion, there might be some kind of ephemeral happiness in the beginning and at the end, distress. But for the person in the mood of ignorance, there is only distress, both in the beginning and at the end.
Yeah, so if you just think of like your average homeless person on the street, whatever, they're experiencing is happiness in the mode of ignorance, basically, right? Intoxication and just sleeping a lot and lying around and being very in illusion about the purpose of life and how to live in this world. And so, and the funny thing is, like, in their minds, they think there's happiness, right? Like one time there was this homeless person, and after he became not homeless anymore, I met him on the street when I was on Sankirtan, and he was like, yeah, when I was homeless, I used to be lying there on the park bench, 10 o'clock in the morning, and all of these, businessmen would be rushing by with their suits and ties and their shiny shoes and their briefcases and their cell phones and all that and going to work. And I used to lie there and think, the poor old sods, they're just daily grind. They're just like, cogs in the wheel here. And I'm just like doing what everybody wishes they could do, just like lying here in the park all day, living a peaceful life. And all they're just working and they're waiting for Friday when they can go out and have a beer with their friends. But me, I have a beer with my friends all day, every day, you know. And he's like, literally thinking he's living it up, you know, like this is he's living the good life. Don't have to work, don't have to be sober. I don't have to do anything, no bills to pay, no family to burden me, nothing, you know, just free as a bird, like that. But then you see him and he's like, you know, just really wasted, you know, like consciousness obliterated, not able to even function properly, dirty, smelly. Nobody wants to look at them. Everybody's turning their face the other way because it's like, you know, sad, disturbing. So then it was after, you know, he went to rehab and he got all cleaned up and he got himself well situated and got a job and, you know, ended up getting married and start living like, you know, a normal, like productive life. Then he was looking back on those days and he was like, I cannot believe that I was happy, that I was thinking I was like the fortunate one, like the blessed one. That was just so ignorant, you know, just so ignorant. And that's what Krishna is saying here is that kind of life is just mode of ignorance. Middle of the day, lying in a dirty old sleeping bag on the street, sleeping and thinking that you're happy. So, yeah. So there's all kinds of people, right? And everybody has their own type of happiness according to the mode of nature that they're in. But by good association, we can elevate ourselves, right? That's the good news. So that guy who was homeless, you know, somebody must have reached out to him and been like, bro, you know, like you're ruining your life. You're a young man, you know, you got your whole life ahead of you. What are you doing? And somebody literally probably just like gave him a pep talk, took him by the hand, took him to some clinic or something where he could get the help he needed. And so it requires association. And the person in the mode of passion that's just like rushing headlong into sense gratification and, you know, good food and good sex and good whatever that they think is good anyway, then somebody needs to, you know, point out to them that like, look, remember you were in that relationship? How'd that feel at the end? Oh, that was crap. Yeah, right. So what do you think about this one? Yeah, like the last 5 or 6, same thing. So there's a pattern here, right? Yeah, it always ends up being frustrating. So are you interested in a higher level of happiness, like one that doesn't end up making you suicidal after some time? And he's like, well, yeah, there has to be another way. And then they might actually start like coming to kirtan and learning about Krishna consciousness, right? Connecting with Krishna, who's the source of happiness. Happiness that doesn't have an expiration date on it. So, and then, yeah, even a person in the mode of goodness, you know, they actually experience real happiness, but sometimes they can become proud, right? That was one of the pitfalls of the person in the material mode of goodness, is that they become conditioned by a sense of happiness and knowledge. And they start thinking, yeah, these poor people out there just running after money, and these poor people out there like just running after like money and sex and whatever. And these poor people out there, they're just so ignorant, they can't even like do anything. They're suffering so much, but I have a good life, you know, like I got it all figured out. I manage my time, everything's balanced. I'm doing my responsibilities. Everyone's happy with me, constantly getting respected and acknowledged and promoted. And, you know, so that person can start becoming proud, thinking they're better than others. And then that becomes a stumbling block. Then they become that pride invites the mode of passion and ignorance to come in. And before you know it, if they're not careful, they can end up in the same boat as the other ones that they thought they were better than. So, but if we make sure to always connect our activities in the mode of goodness to Krishna, then Krishna will protect us from the pitfalls of pride. And he'll, instead of letting us get degraded down into passion and ignorance, he'll bump us up to the spiritual platform, the transcendental platform, and then that's the safe position, right? That's the natural position for spirit soul, is on the spiritual platform, and that's where we really thrive. Okay. Any last thoughts about happiness or determination in the three modes?
You were saying that that one person wanted to be homeless or like that felt like he enjoyed it, but not all homeless people, right? Like want to be homeless or like feel like they enjoy it.
I don't know. I mean, I haven't talked to all of them, but one thing for sure, I mean, this was when I was,
Or like in general, I mean,
probably not. I mean, one thing though, that because this was in the UK, so UK has a really good, social welfare system. And so basically anybody who doesn't want to be homeless doesn't have to be. All they need to do is go to one of these like homeless shelters and they can connect with benefits, and people to help them. I think in the US it's not so easy. Like in the US, you can very easily get evicted and just be on the street and not have a lot of options.
So a few times actually. So it's like it's pretty rough. Did not like it. And so, but that makes sense, like thinking of a different culture, because I'm like in the
Yeah.
US, it's for the most part.
Yeah. Yeah, so in the UK or anywhere in Europe, basically, Europe is really good about actually taking care of people. And the taxes are high, but they have like really good benefits for helping people. So most of the people who are homeless there, and probably all of the people that are homeless there, are basically like drug addicts, who they just want to live that lifestyle because of the mode of ignorance is too strong.
I was feeling like it's how if someone is in mode of ignorance, they don't even know they are in ignorance. So how important it is to have good association and to have the right knowledge.
Yeah.
Otherwise, like if this is true, like even if if I'm in the mode of ignorance, I won't even know, and I will think that I'm the best and doing something
Yeah.
good. And
Yeah, this says that they think that irreligion is religion. They think that the wrong thing is the right thing. And they always go in the wrong, they endeavor always in the wrong direction. Right? We were reading that.
yeah, they think that that's the right thing. They will argue us till the end. So yeah, now I feel like how important it is to convey the right information.
Yeah, these guys will be like eating some half-eaten hamburger out of the garbage, like that's what they eat. And when we heard about knowledge in the mode of ignorance, it was one, meager, and two, basically doesn't go beyond eating, sleeping, mating, and defending. Right? So you see these people who like are homeless, they'll be like telling each other, yeah, you can go down there and get free food and like that. So that's their knowledge, where to get free food, where to get like, whatever, free needles or whatever, to maintain the lifestyle that they have chosen or ended up in somehow. So yeah, unfortunate. So that's why we have to do prasadam distribution. For people like that, it's like, what are you going to do? Kirtan and prasadam distribution, that's it. Only things that they can, like,
Out of ignorance.
yeah, and gradually just hope and pray that something will touch their hearts and change their consciousness. Yeah.
I have a lot of like empathy for people who are addicted to substances. I think 'cause I've experienced it, and it's like really, I've experienced that feeling of just being really wanting to stop and really wanting to like live a good life, but literally not knowing how to stop, like not knowing how to get your brain rewired, because like once you head down that rabbit hole, your brain literally is rewires the neural pathways to thinking this is the only place that pleasure can be available. There's no other thing that could possibly satisfy you, and your brain literally from that point is like, I just need that or I'll die. And it's terrible because I feel really bad for a lot of people who get trapped in these like living hell nightmares of like through some kind of lie or through like untreated PTSD or schizophrenia and things that are really painful, and they like end up, using more and ending up on the street. And like I have a lot of empathy for that, because I just like and thankfully I had resources, I could get help, I reached out for help, and there were people who helped me a lot. And so, I've been sober and good for years, but a lot of people don't have those resources, and like, I think that's why it's like really important to kind of like show empathy for that, or make sure that we're like considering that, because
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah, for sure. Yeah, a lot of people out there need
Yeah.
a lot of help. Arjuna's got his hand up, and also Divya. We'll take Arjuna first.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
To Daniel's point, I do agree that it's definitely easier said than done. To some of the points that you touched on, such as homelessness and drug addiction, it is true that, you know, ignorance leads us to more ignorance, and it's really hard to get detangled from it. But I also believe in, it is, psychologically proven that people's got a choice. So it is true that we can be compassionate, and we should practice our compassion and empathy, and we should try to help them and not be critical. But we should also recognize that people at all times have a choice to make, even in the most hellish conditions, Paramatma will always lead the person to take the way out. And even though it is difficult and it is challenging, you always have, an opportunity somewhere along the way. And it is up to the soul to decide whether they want to continue on that path or not. So yes, there's a lot of people who are trapped, but that is not to say that, that person should not have a certain level of accountability, or should not be seen as, as conditioned, because that's what the philosophy says. It's not like the philosophy saying, you know, reject those people, push them away, but rather it's just saying that, it is it's conditioning, but it's curable. There's a cure for that.
Yeah, so also, yeah, everybody, it's a sense of personal responsibility. Just I'm gonna mute because it echoes. Yeah, I mean, we have responsibility for our lives, right? And
Yeah, it was up to me to ask for help.
Exactly.
I know a lot of people who have access to help will, like there are people at the facility that I went to where I got help for like a month I was there, and like there were people who would just come in one day, smoke a pack of cigarettes and leave, and just be like, no, I don't need this, I'm fine. And like they obviously weren't, or they wouldn't be there. And like, yeah, people like that, yeah, they definitely don't realize like what they have, and they're making a choice to just not get help for sure. But there's also people who like don't have access to resources, and those are the people who are like, I don't know. I just like to like take consider the idea that like some people really do get, and maybe it's a a karmic thing, or maybe a lifetime thing, or maybe, but I still have like a lot of empathy for people who are trapped with like don't have resources to get help from, because there are a lot of places like that.
Divya?
I was gonna say, I remember actually studying homelessness. I took social sciences in high school, and there was a term where we just studied homelessness and causes of homelessness, and it's mostly predominant in like really it stems from people that come from like dysfunctional families, or either they're part of like whether they're like racial minorities, or people that are part of LGBT communities that are kind of pushed away by their family and rejected by their family, or people that come from broken homes and have never have had any like any stability, whether materially or like family stability or relationships. They just don't know. It's almost like they just how can you know something that you've never been taught? So it's like it's just because I even remember like my life pre-Krishna consciousness, and the people that I would hang out with, where a lot of them were like, in gangs, like gang members that had easy access to drugs. I've tried things as well, and I remember one time I tried something, and my boyfriend at the time, I remember telling him, please never give this to me again, because I I could easily get addicted to this. Like I forget all my problems when I'm on it. I feel like I'm in another world. Like I completely vividly remember what it feels like, and it's a very scary place. It's an easy escape to escape all these problems that you've that you've only ever seen your whole life. Your whole life has just been a tornado of problems. You've never had any healthy stability. So I understand. But then it's like then it comes to when someone is shown like, oh, there are different options. You do have a choice. There is support for you, which is also hard. It's hard to find people that genuinely care about you and want to invest in you. And for long term, because it's like, picking someone up off the ground, like they're at rock bottom, and trying to help them up is like you can't help someone who doesn't want to help themselves. So I
Right.
think both are true. Yeah.
Joy. Thank you. Okay. So let's try to keep in the mode of goodness so that we can be happy, and let's do whatever we can to try to uplift others to the mode of goodness and beyond, to the transcendental platform, so that they can be happy too. All right, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Gaura Preman. Oh, let me see what's happening here on YouTube. Well done. Oh, we got a few people. What about the Python Brahmin that King Prahlad met in the 7th canto? He just laid there on the streets. He was different. Yeah, Prabhupada said actually there's two kinds of people that are happy in the world. One that's just like ignorance is bliss, and they think they're happy, though they're actually not, but they feel like they're happy, like that guy I was talking about. And the other one is one who's actually transcendental. So in that case, yeah, the Python man is in that category. So he wasn't lying there because he was lazy. He was lying there because he was renounced. And he just wanted to spend all of his time just focusing on the Lord, absorbed in his meditation. Okay, very good. Thank you, and thank you, Jai Shri Ram, for always being here. Hare Krishna. We're gonna see you tomorrow, same time, same place. Bhagavad Gita.